Good morning, everyone. This is Kendall Askins from Stimulating Minds. Askins stimulates over on Instagram. Follow us on our YouTube channel so that you can get access to all of these videos that we have done. We're going to jump right into it today. Last week, we were talking about protecting your peace. And one of the items that we talked about in protecting your peace, or that I mentioned, was setting boundaries. And we just touched on it a little bit, but as I had played that video and people were watching it, some of the feedback that I was getting was around people learning how to figure out what they were putting their energy into, and also figuring out like how to set their boundaries. And so I wanted to take today to really talk a little bit deeper about boundaries, making sure that we're setting healthy boundaries and making sure that we have the right thought process going into what setting boundaries looks like. So often when we think about boundaries, we think about blocking something out, right? A fence, right? When I hear the word boundary, automatically I think of a fence. And a lot of people think about a fence keeping something out. But when you think about boundaries, you can think about what it actually keeps in, right? Versus what it keeps out. And so one of the biggest things with boundaries is your mindset. What mindset do you have? Are you having a mindset when you're going to set a boundary? Are you having a mindset that you're blocking something out? Or are you having a mindset that you're keeping something in? And a lot of people might look at that as semantics or just look at that as like a little detail, but it's actually a big detail, because when you are looking at blocking something out, you are almost, it's like you're being defensive, right? Like you're being reactive. You are looking at as things come to you, and you're deciding what you're going to let in, what you're going to let out, or what you're going to fight against. And while I will talk about your energy and having that as a boundary, when you think about a boundary as what you're keeping in, right? You think about it in terms of that you are keeping in your peace, right? You are protecting your peace. You are protecting your authentic self. You are not allowing outside influences to change who you are authentically. So I like to think of boundaries as what I'm keeping in versus what I'm keeping out. And with that, thought process comes how I view my life and my interactions. Because when I think about a boundary as what I'm keeping in and what I'm protecting, then I'm able to interact with all people, right? Because I'm thinking about what I'm allowing in from those interactions. So I never have a thought process that I am not going to be able to at least cordially interact with somebody, unless I just feel like anything that that person gives out uh would not be something good for me, right? But I don't go into the situation thinking that I have to block people out. And so, again, subtle difference, but it does make a big difference. Boundaries and how I think about boundaries is really what's going to help me walk through my everyday life. It also, the boundaries and what you keep in, when you think about it, can help with your different healing. Right? Because when you start to think about a boundary in terms of like keeping your peace, you start to really realize what things don't keep your peace. And so part of what I would encourage you to do is trust your instincts with the things that you know you enjoy, or the things that bring you happiness. Often as we're going through healing, yes, it's uncomfortable, but sometimes we are confusing that discomfort with something bad, right? And so we'll block out things that we really shouldn't block out. So I want to encourage you to look at all situations and really trust your instinct, not just how you feel in the moment. Again, knowing that that can sound confusing, but they're two different things. You're not always going to feel happy around something, because that something might make you grow. And when you're growing, you're not going to feel happy because growing is very uncomfortable, right? But you know the difference between feeling challenged by something and feeling put down by something, right? They're two different things. So again, as you're setting a boundary and looking at what you're keeping in, you want to think about the interactions and the things that you have. Are they challenging you, or are they making you, pulling you down? I want to also encourage you to think about boundaries as not just being around people. We often think about, when we set boundaries, that it's just dealing with people. But it doesn't have to deal with people. It can deal with the things that we watch, the music that we listen to, the places that we put our time. These are all things, the clothes we wear. I don't know, like there's just so many other things outside of people that help you keep your peace, and help you make sure that you are focusing on being the best version of yourself. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that the boundaries are about you and nobody else. So as you are setting a boundary, if you're setting a boundary based off of somebody else or what they said or whatever it is, you want to begin to shift that thought process, right? Remember, the boundary is about protecting your peace and growing into the most authentic version of yourself. So you want to make sure that the boundaries that you're setting and what you are putting your energy into and what you are participating in are about you, that the choices are about you and not about just the outside factors, right? You're being proactive with that, not reactive. It's not like we just let everybody inside, and then as people do us wrong, then we push them outside the boundary. It's about knowing from the beginning what you will put your energy into, what you will allow, what interactions, what shows you will watch, what's good for your spirit. Like those are the ways that you really are proactive with your boundaries. And if you have not thought about these things, I would offer that to you. I know for me, as I'm sharing a personal example, any movies that have demonic spirits in it, I cannot watch, because I look at the TV, to me, kind of like a portal, right? And I know that that can sound extreme, but if I'm watching that, I'm allowing that energy into my spirit. And so even though, I know it's not real, right? I know that that's a healthy boundary. I don't even want that energy anywhere near me. So I am very intentional about the TV shows that I watch. So that's a boundary that has nothing to do with people. That has to do with my own personal self. So today I want to just encourage you to think about what boundaries you set, not just from the mindset of people that don't make you feel good, but boundaries that you set in general that set the tone for how you protect your peace. So let's see them. Drop some boundaries in the comments that you set, some ideas you might have. Check in. Some of you said you were going to work on boundaries last week. Why don't you check in with us and tell us how those boundaries went, and any new ideas that you might have, drop those in the chat as well. Let's get talking. I hope you guys have an amazing day and an amazing week, and I will see you back here next Wednesday for more fun. Bye.